This is Rebekah Roth, and I'm about to share with you one of my very favorite YouTubers. And if you have access to him, you could let him know. I'd be happy to will my 9/11 documents to him. I'm going to take you over and share, and I'm sure I'll do this multiple times, with one of my all-time favorite YouTubers, Carroll. 2 R's and 2 L's. So buckle up. This man is really good at what he does. And he will probably be your favorite. So take a trip over to his YouTube channel, like and share, and keep following along with him.
Well, Candace Owens is coming back tomorrow, Monday, October 27th. And I have a feeling it's going to be an absolute banger, because she commented on my live stream from this last Friday and said, "This video makes me sick. I will build upon it on Monday. Great work, Ian, as always." That comment is attached to a multi-hour live stream that, if you didn't get to watch the whole thing, or if you want to recap, I have now edited down into a much shorter version that is this video. So you can get all caught up on the bombshells that dropped at the end of last week in the Charlie Kirk case, so that when Candace comes back, you're going to be ready to know what she's talking about, because I have a feeling that this week there's going to be a whole bunch of new stuff going on. So what I've done is I've taken the live stream and I've edited it down and taken out all the extra stuff and taken off all the other parts that we did in there and just given you just the meat of this piece. That is the video you're about to watch, and I will put links to that live stream and anything else relevant in the description below. So I'm about to pack this whole place up and hit the road again. I'll see y'all soon. And for now, I think we'll all just be waiting for Candace to come back tomorrow, probably around 3 or 4 p.m. I'll see you there in the comment section.
Conspiracy theories are entering a dangerous...
Information is the oxygen of the democracy.
There's so much evidence out there that even if less than 1% is true, that would be enough to collapse the current paradigm and change the whole planet.
I want to be clear. I'm not accusing Mikey McCoy of a crime. I'm not accusing Mikey McCoy of being involved in a conspiracy. Maybe there's a rational explanation for this behavior. All I'm saying is that on video footage, we see Mikey McCoy's actions during and right after the shooting, and they're weird. And it would be great to get an explanation from Mikey about his actions to clear it all up, because it's really weird. Mikey McCoy is the chief of staff for Turning Point USA. So he was Charlie's chief of staff for about a year now, and he'd been working very closely high up there for many years at this point. Very close. This is Mikey right here. He is the son, if you recognize that name, it's because he is the son of Pastor Rob McCoy.
Justin's the CFO, chief financial officer, and Mikey's the chief of staff.
Those are his kids.
And I'm watching, the minute Charlie was shot, he called me, says, "Dad, Charlie's been shot in the neck."
We're going to come back to that statement in just a second.
He has wits about him. He was just directing. He had blood all over him. And
Wait. I didn't even notice that before. He just said that Mikey had blood all over him. Let's remember that in just a moment.
I want to address something. The stupidity of the internet.
This is the fun part.
Signals? Really? And the other guy, Dan, the security guard, he's somehow tied in with this conspiracy? Get over yourself.
Anyways, we don't need to listen to his whiny voice all day. There is truth to what he's saying, that it's important not to dogpile on to people that are grieving, that are close to the, it's a touchy subject. It's true. But he said a few things right there that are going to be really, really, really relevant when we watch video footage of what his son, Mikey McCoy, the chief of staff, did right when Charlie got shot. And here's the thing about video evidence. There's a lot of things that we sort of kind of know. There's a lot of things that we've got information about, but it's like, can you trust the source? There's a lot of parts of this story that are speculation and are probably always going to be speculation. But video is video. And yeah, there's AI, there's editing, there's all sorts of stuff that can happen to video, but the original video footage that we've got of this event, I think we feel pretty good about most of the original video footage. If it's on video, it happened, probably, almost certainly. And we need some explanations for what's on video. There's a lot of video, actually. Not as much as we might expect, but there is video. And so maybe there's a rational explanation for everything that's caught on video. But there's got to be some sort of explanation because it happened and it's on video. Because Sam had to zoom in on this guy right here in the background. And it's kind of hard for you to see. But this is Mikey McCoy. And Sam did another expose about tracking Mikey through the whole day because Mikey was right by Charlie. He rode in with him in the SUV. He was filming. A lot of the footage that we saw at the beginning of the event, like of Charlie throwing hats, was from Mikey's phone. Mikey was right behind him and beside him all the way through. And then when Charlie was speaking, Mikey wound up right here to Looker's right of the tent, wearing his black backpack with his white long sleeve shirt. And in just a second, we'll watch and track him. Remember, chief of staff. It's like the right-hand guy. And he was at Charlie's right hand all day long.
Gang violence. Great.
Okay, shot rings out. And you can see that Mikey's left hand goes up, kind of like it's going to his ear to cover his ear. And his right hand is holding his phone. Okay, that's his phone. And we know it's his phone from more than just this, but that is his phone, okay? So it looks like his left arm goes to plug an ear maybe, and his right hand holding his phone that was already kind of crossed like this starts to come up towards his ear. But Sam makes the important note that no dial motion is detected, right? It's the phone is in his arms, and it's immediately going up towards his ear, okay? And he turns around. And Charlie has still not fallen over. You're about to see Charlie fall through the frame right here, but he's already turned around and walking away. And there's Charlie. Mikey's out of line of sight, and he's already on the phone. At least it would appear that he's already on. And then in the same video, this is just, but now, walking through the frame in the background, white hat. Right there. Look again, right here. Black backpack, white shirt, white hat. Like chief of staff? Right? Wait. Our
As
audio?
Charlie is evacuated behind him. But what's he talking about? He doesn't actually know anything yet. He walked away without seeing what happened to Charlie. Who's he talking to?
Right? So this is from a different video, right? From back behind the scene where Charlie is currently getting loaded into the SUV. We all remember the timeline here. It was pretty quick. It was like within a minute and a half or so. And bro is already on his way out of the venue, walking towards the parking lots over there. This is over in that direction is where the memorial got set up eventually. There is parking over there, but that's certainly not a logical thing to do at this moment, is to walk slowly towards the parking. When like he didn't see what happened to Charlie. He didn't see the response. He didn't see anything. He just turned and walked away on the phone. So who's he talking to? If we go back to his dad, didn't we just watch Rob say?
Justin's the CFO, chief financial officer, and Mikey's the chief of staff. And I'm watching, the minute Charlie was shot, he called me, says, "Dad, Charlie's been shot in the neck. Please call every pastor and pray."
The minute that Charlie was shot, Mikey called me and said, "Dad, Charlie's been shot in the neck." So was he on the phone with you? Because that seems pretty quick. And it's hard to say he even saw that it was a shot in the neck because he was behind him. But, right? Like, and he turned around within a second. But then he also says this.
He has wits about him. He was just directing.
Directing from not the scene? Directing from leaving? I mean, he sure seemed to have his wits about him. That is true.
He had blood all over him. And
he had blood all over him? Whoa, bro. Blood all over him? I mean, I see a white ass shirt, and we watched him walk away. I don't see any blood all over anyone. And I'm pretty sure that the only opportunity to get blood all over him was just loaded into the car while he was walking away on the phone. He's the chief of staff. So that's weird. And now it gets even weirder. Way weirder. Real quick, just want to remind you that there's no sponsorship on this video. I'm not taking any money from anyone for this, but I would really appreciate it if you would just click the subscribe button, click the like button. Helps out the channel a lot. I appreciate it. This kind of stuff takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of investment. I really appreciate your time investment, and I would love it if you would subscribe to support and appreciate my investment of being a problem for all the assholes in this world. Back to the video. Someone went to Barron's live stream and said, hey, would you look up Mikey McCoy's stuff and see if anyone's been searching Mikey McCoy? And lo and behold, there's a Google trend showing that on the 14th of July, someone in Israel searched for Mikey McCoy. That's interesting. But then, on August 15th, Mikey McCoy was searched in the Cayman Islands, which is weird. And then, on September 6th, 4 days before the assassination, someone in Israel searched Mikey McCoy's home address verbatim. Like street, like house number, street name, complete. Very specific search in Israel. All that is very weird. And you can go back to Barron's streams and watch them for yourself. I highly recommend that you do that to see the process for yourself and to validate and see the, exactly how that search was done, to get a little context on it. But that's all very strange. And to clarify, when Barron does these searches, he also shows, he'll show that same search in New York and California and Arizona and the United Kingdom and Australia to show you that all these other places, no searches. But then in these places, searches, which is all very weird. And so this is where I started to realize that putting all of these searches onto a timeline might tell us something interesting. Because Barron keeps on kind of saying how there's this, they all cluster around this 2-week window, sort of in the middle of July of this year is when the most searches happened. And so I'm sort of thinking, well, what happened around July 20th? What was happening in Charlie Kirk's life and in TPUSA's life and in Israel's life? And in, what was happening around that time in July? Do you know what it was? Right around this time when all these searches exploded? Any guesses? On July 13th of this year, Charlie Kirk was in Florida at the TPUSA event hosting a debate between Dave Smith and Josh Hammer, where Dave Smith made Josh Hammer look like a fucking idiot and made the entire pro-Israel cause look ridiculous. And then the next day, on July 14th, Tucker Carlson headlined the main stage for the closing night of the event. And we know from Tucker's reporting, Candace's reporting, and kind of Dave Smith's reporting too, that a conversation happened backstage before Tucker went out on stage where he said, listen, I know that you get all this shit from donors, and I know that they're all over you, and I normally talk about Israel and about Jeffrey Epstein and all these things, and I'm not going to go hard on it. I don't want to bring more trouble on you. I'm not going to do it. And Charlie said, no, go all the way. Say it all. And Tucker recounted that conversation to us. So that was July 13th and 14th. And there were searches before that. They extend into June and a few in April a little bit. Some searches before that. But then they explode. That very day, the 14th, Not even before the event is over. That's when Mikey McCoy gets searched in Israel. Then, that same day, a guy named Richard Rasmussen gets searched in Israel. And who is Richard Rasmussen? Let me reference my other sheet over here. He's one of the surgeons at Timpanogos Regional Hospital. 2 days later, Timpanogos Regional Hospital is searched in D.C. And then, that same day, in D.C., someone is searching for Bo Mason, who is the commissioner of the Utah Department of Public Safety. On the 18th, Stephen Nealman is searched in Israel, then Lee Patterson, then Catherine Nestor, then George Hodgson Zinn. George Zinn was searched in D.C. Brian Gill searched in Israel. Robert Patterson searched in Israel. Lee Trotter searched in Israel. Road Lossie Center searched in Israel. You guys don't know any of these names. You've never heard of any of these names. Stephen Nealman, Lee Patterson, Catherine Nestor, Brian Gill, Robert Patterson, Lee Trotter. Who are they? Well, Catherine Nestor is Tyler Robinson's lawyer. And someone was searching for her name in Israel. Not in the UK, not in Australia, not even anywhere around the United States, just in Israel. All these other names, these are all surgeons that work at Timpanogos Regional Hospital. A few of them are involved in the police force in the area of the shooting. Schaefer Security was searched in Israel, which is like maybe just noise because Schaefer Security wasn't actually Charlie's security outfit anymore. They'd stopped a long time ago. Hunter Kozak, the guy that asked the question when Charlie was shot, he was searched in Israel on August 3rd. That's weird. If you recall, we have video of Hunter Kozak apparently practicing his oh shit expression before the shooting happened, and then being very oh shit melodramatic at the moment of the shooting. But Hunter Kozak is actually part of an organization that is dedicated to trailing Charlie Kirk on campus tours and then trolling him in the questions from a left-wing perspective. Hunter Kozak is like opposition to Charlie official. He's very vocal about how he feels about Charlie, and he's part of an organized offensive group to counter Charlie Kirk at the time. Some other interesting stuff about him too, but we don't have time for all of it. But what I'm trying to show you is that just so happens that this massive explosion in search trend data happens right after the TPUSA Florida event, where it becomes pretty apparent to a lot of Jewish donors that something's got to be done about Charlie Kirk. And it gets to all kinds of granularity, like Mikey McCoy's home address. And I misspelled Mikey here. I turned him into Mickey. But that's not the only home address that got searched. On September 7th, 3 days before the shooting, someone in Israel searched W925S Street. That is a very specific search. Right? And I see in the chat, someone just said like 9 billion searches a day, for fuck's sake. Yeah, but none of them are for this. And we know that because when you look up W925S Street, look all over the country. Look at every jurisdiction. Look at other countries. Look all over the world and see how many Google searches are done for that exact order of letters and numbers. How many digits are in your PIN for your debit card? 4, right? Because just 4 random numbers in a sequence is a fucking like uncrackable code. There's endless possibilities. But when you have letters and numbers and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters long, that's an astronomically rare thing to search. And do you know what W925S Street is? Well, it's not Mikey McCoy's address, but it is where the gun was found. Like literally where the gun was found. It is this tiny stretch of road from about here to about here, which is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 houses. And the gun was found right here. 3 days before the shooting, someone halfway around the world is searching for an address in this little town in Utah. I mean, it's not a little town. It's attached to Salt Lake City. But bitch, please. Come on. And then on July 11th in the District of Columbia, someone searched 683 W925S Street. That's a pretty specific location. 683 is this house. That's the chicken coop right there. What? I mean, you make your own assessment. You decide for yourself if you want to give any credibility to all that. But I highly recommend that you go and watch Baron Coleman's streams before you jump to any conclusions about it. What you're probably seeing is either a whole bunch of very bizarre coincidences where people halfway around the world are getting really interested in people that they don't know and have probably, well, I assume wouldn't know and probably have never met, tail numbers to planes that they have nothing to do with, addresses for houses that they have nothing to do with, the Losi Center, a building in a college halfway around the world that they've nothing to do with, I would assume. All of these things are getting searched all in rapid succession right after the TPUSA Florida event. So maybe it's all just coincidences, or maybe it's the planning of a crime. The chief of staff, covered in blood, allegedly, walking away on the phone with his dad, allegedly. And I think that's not actually, I don't think that's who he's on the phone with, because I think that we can all agree that based on Pastor Rob McCoy saying that Mikey was covered in blood, we can pretty much discount everything that he said, because that's not true. So who knows who he's on the phone with? But bro was either on speed dial or something. And bro was on speed the fuck out of this place. I don't need to know anything. I don't need to have any part in this. And we would love an explanation, Mikey. I'm open to hearing it. Maybe there is some normal, rational explanation. But just to clarify what we're seeing here, there are search trend data that is suspicious from before that Florida event. Like, for example, the Losi Center was searched in Israel on July 7th and July 9th. And that's a weird thing to search if you're in Israel. Actually, the landscaping company that redid the crime scene, they were searched on July 6th in District of Columbia, DC area, which is like maybe a coincidence. Maybe someone in the DC area had some business with them or something. Who knows? And there are other searches too before that I didn't include. A couple of them, not a ton, but they trail off into the beginning of July, and there's some in June. There might have been a few in May, but not many. And then the TPUSA Florida event, and then a bunch of them, and they're all in Israel. And then leading into the event, a lot more of the search trends that have been found so far, at least, are stateside in DC, and a couple of them in the Huntsville area probably around that FBI office, but who knows? And so I'm very curious for anyone involved with Turning Point, kind of a long shot, but I'm curious, at what point did the UVU campus location get first brought up? Was it in August? Or was it maybe back in July? Or was it maybe even before July? Right? And at what point did that become concrete? And who had access to that information? Who was privy to that theoretical possibility that maybe Charlie Kirk would be on UVU campus? Because all the way back July 7th and 9th, someone in Israel was searching for the Losi Center, which is very awkward. And then the 8th, Robert Shillman allegedly pulls all of his funding from TPUSA. And then somewhere in this early September timeframe, I have not pinned down the exact date yet, Charlie's in the group chat saying, I have no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. And then, whether by coincidence or in response to that group chat, I think it's probably coincidence, most of the search trends shift to being stateside in the DC area. And if you're running with the theory, speculatively, what that would indicate is that the assets are on the move, that it's a go, and any assets that might have been based overseas, although I doubt that very much or any of them were, I think it was probably just planning and doing things like prepping schizophrenic people to play their part, so to speak, is my guess. But suddenly the operation is more stateside based on the searches that have been found so far. And that would track, because now it's like it's go time. The plan is made, and now it's just whoever's on the ground, whoever's the accomplices in DC are maybe just putting the last little touches on it, dealing with any weird changes like this plane. They're searching the owner of the plane. They're searching the tail number of the plane. They're double checking the low-C center, tail number of the plane. Tyler James Robinson, again, in Timpanogos Regional Hospital searched. And then remember that Candace alleged that 3 different sources told her that Charlie said the day before the shooting that he was worried they would kill him if he turned on Israel. And then, let's not forget that on September 9th, Josh Hammer retweets Trump's 12-year-old execution tweet. He goes back 12 years in Trump's timeline to grab out his tweet about executions and says, based. And then it wasn't until the day before the event that UVU Review published specific location of the event. Theoretically, September 9th would have been the first day that anyone in the public would have known that the low-C center might have been relevant to this thing, right? But someone in Israel was pretty curious about it months in advance for some reason. And then you get to September 10th, right? The absolute audacity to have questions. Oh my goodness. And obviously, there's a lot of speculation in connecting all of these things. But there's not speculation in the fact that these are very specific searches and that the data is showing up only in very specific places. And once is a random occurrence, and twice is a coincidence, and 3 times you might have a pattern, and like 14, 15, 16 times, and holy shit, you're planning an assassination. Allegedly.